Alright guys, so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to make some hard cider. So one of the first things we're going to need is some kind of apples. And what I did was I actually went to the store and I just bought myself some 100% apple juice. This one actually came in a glass container, which is great because I'm going to actually use this for my carboy. We need a cup of sugar, white sugar, a cup of brown sugar, and then an airlock and a plug. Now that plug is actually going to fit in the top of my cider. Now I've sanitized everything. And I got myself a little bit of champagne yeast. This is really important. This is what's going to ferment it and turn it into an actual hard cider. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pop the lid. We're going to add this into our pot. Just go ahead and pour it all right on in there. And turn your heat on while you're doing it to a nice medium heat. What we're going to do here is this is what we're going to do to use to dissolve our sugars into the cider so that the yeast has something to eat with. So once we've got it all added up in there, we're going to turn that up a little bit. We're going to make sure that that gets to a nice, good, warm temperature. Now we don't want it to boil, so we got to make sure that we're watching it so that it doesn't start to boil. And that we can also know when to put our sugars in. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this out. Alright, so we're getting up to, the temperature's getting up here. So it's starting to warm up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add our sugars. I'm going to start with our granulated white sugar. And then our brown sugar. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I kind of break it up, because you stick it in just a giant clump, it takes forever. Alright, so alright, so now let's stir that up as it's starting to heat and get those sugars all nice and dissolved in there. Now the point of putting the sugar in is what that's going to do for us is it's going to give the yeast something to start fermenting and really get us that nice, clean, smooth taste. Now we're going to want to keep this stirred for about 45 minutes while it dissolves, and we get it all dissolved and pasteurized here. So we want to get all those impurities. We want to get that any yeast that might be in the apples left over from when they bottled it. Kind of took a shortcut. You can actually juice the apples yourself if you want. There are natural yeasts, but you do really risk the chance of turning it into vinegar, which not really a great idea. So as you see, it's starting to steam up there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this up for a little bit. I'm going to make sure that it just rotates. You know, this is a pretty crucial part here. This is where we're going to get all that flavor and stuff. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to grab my oven mitt here and get somewhere for this thing to go to. I'm going to grab my carboy. I'm going to stick it in the sink and get it ready. What I'm also going to do, hopefully you can see this, is I'm going to take my my airlock, fill it up to the line, which is right there. Put my cap on it. This way it can breathe and let the air out. I'm going to take my cork, pop it right in there, and then I'm just going to set it aside for now. That's going to be really important to keep out all the carbonation and stuff like that from escaping, the CO2 staying in there, and us not turning our cider into vinegar. So this is the point when we're supposed to go have a home brew, but I don't have any ready, so I can't do that right now. Let's check the temperature on this guy. A trusty dusty thermometer here. looks like we're at about 120 degrees there. If you can take a look at that, about 120 degrees, which is awesome. That's perfect. We want to kind of keep it there, like I said, for about 45 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down the heat here and just let it relax and stay at a nice mild temperature. Like I said, it's going to kill off all the carcinogens. It's going to kill off a lot of different bacteria that may have been in the apple and get us ready for the next step, which will be transferring it into our carboy, which the apple juice came in, and adding our yeast once we've cooled it down. So what I'm going to do to cool it down is I'm actually going to stick it in the freezer for about 15 minutes. That should bring it down to about 70 degrees and really have it ready to go. So let's cover this up and come back in just a couple minutes. Alright, so we've let this sit long enough now. Now what we need to do is we need to transfer it back into our carboy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the heat here. Just going to give it one last little stir and move us on over. So from here, I'm going to pop my cap here, and I've got a great little tool here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this into my bucket, and it's an auto siphon, and I'm going to just submerge it, pull it up. It'll should suck it up and then start siphoning it in. Honestly, it's the first time I've ever used one of these. So there we go. And we're now siphoning out all of our cider into our barrel, into our carboy, so that it can sit there and it'll ferment over about a 1 week period. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to transfer it out of this and into our bottles and label our bottles with cider, because I got some beers going on, so you know that's a lot of stuff there. Alright, and so like I said, it's a little hot right now, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this and cap it, and I'm actually going to put it in my freezer over here. Actually, that's a really bad idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a nice ice bath. We're going to take it, we're going to fill the sink with some cold water and ice cubes. Let's get a temp on this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this sit for about 10-15 minutes or so. There's a big giant chunk of ice right here. Alright, so it's been a few minutes, so what we're going to do is we're going to take another temp. We're going to see if this baby's down low enough to add our yeast in yet. Let's take a look here. Yeah, we're good at about 72 degrees, which is, you know, your average room temperature. So let's put that away. And back you up a little bit there. So this is the really simple part. Take our yeast. Just add it right in there. Believe it or not, that's all it takes. I'm going to shake it just a little bit. Make sure we get it in there. Pop the cap. Now we're going to take our airlock. I'm not really trusting that. Let's actually get that. We want that yeast all down in there, right? Shake it up a little bit there. Alright, now we're going to take our airlock. Pop our airlock in, and that's it. One thing that I've learned is that if we actually wrap our jug up here, keeps it nice and cozy in there, and then what's also going to happen is it's going to help keep it at a nice temperature, and it's going to keep it dark. Okay, we want it dark in there. This is going to help the fermentation. Yeast really likes it dark, so we want to keep that going. We want to keep it dark. We want to make sure we hang on to our cap. Really important that we hang on to our cap. We're going to need that baby later, so I'm just going to put it aside for now. Push that guy over there, and that's it. We'll come back in about a week to transfer this into its bottles, where we'll allow it to ferment for another 2 weeks, and then be able to have ourselves a nice cold cider. Thanks.